What's up guys, Grim here. I wanted to do a guide on how to rune out your warriors. Now a lot of people don't know what they should go with. Should they go with more crit? Should they go with attack power? Stuff like that. So I'm going to clear up a lot of it for you and show you how you should go with your warrior for PvP. And mind you, this is kind of specific to the warrior role and also to the warlord build I run. There may be other warrior builds that don't want to go this exact route because with warlord it has a lot of benefits for attack power. So that's what we're going to stack, because the more attack power we get, the more bonus we get from it. And I will show you. Okay, we look at our soul tree here. We got strength of arms, gives 10% bonus to our attack power. We've got everything is a weapon, which gives 25% more attack power. And then we've got weapon familiarity, which I've got 4 points into it because I took a point out so I could put in a disarm, like disarm them rogues whenever they're hitting me. But that adds 8% attack power the way that I have this build. And then we've got Grace of the 5 Rings, which adds 6% more. So overall, that is 49% bonus to our attack power. And if you guys don't know, 1 attack power is pretty much equal to 1 vengeance. So the difference is that vengeance only works on players, attack power works on monsters and players. So if you have the option of going with attack power or vengeance, you want to go with attack power. And especially how the warlord tree benefits attack power by boosting it up even more than what it is, then you want to go with attack power if you can. Now that kind of points out that a lot of people use the mercenaries whetstone onto their weapons for 100 vengeance. Sounds good, right? Well, if you use honed edge, which you get from planar attunement, it adds 80 attack power to your weapon. So, which is better, 100 vengeance or 80 attack power? You would think 100 vengeance since they're the same, right? No, not, because the reason is that warriors get so much benefit from attack power that we get almost a 50% boost to it. So that 80 attack power is pretty much 120 attack power instead. So that is the same as 120 vengeance. So I don't think you need to be using 100 vengeance onto your weapons. You need to be going with the honed edge. So you guys can see exactly why our soul benefits from that. Let's go ahead and look at the runes. Okay, I'm going to go a route here. I'm going to show you what you should be runing your stuff out with, and then I'll show you a cheaper version so that if you don't have all the platinum to buy all these runes, because they can get very, very expensive, then I'll show you a cheaper route. And all the cheap runes are usually around the 15 plat area, so it's real nice to go the cheaper route first, and especially if you're not in Myrmidon gear yet. If you're in Freelancer gear, buy the cheap stuff. Buy the cheap runes. Even if you're in Warlord, go with the cheap runes, because it can get expensive trying to unsocket those expensive runes and stuff. So we will start out with the helm here. Okay, the rune that you want to be going with is called the Lustrous Potent rune, and it gives 55 strength. A cheaper version of this rune is the Auroral Gallant rune, which adds 27 strength and 17 physical crit. So it'll give you a little more crit and a lot less strength. On the cape, we got the Mercenary Stalwart Stitching. You can buy this for favor in the PvP area of Tempest Bay. And there's not a cheaper one, there's not a more expensive one. This is the only rune that we use on our cape. And you do have to have a little bit of PvP faction, but that's it. And the only faction that we will ever need in anything that I show here is PvP stuff, because I don't do PvE really, and I don't grind PvE faction. So there are better runes in the PvE stuff sometimes. So if you do PvE and grind factions often, then there might be better runes in the PvE stuff. So you can usually get the PvE runes right from the Rift store down there. So if you got the faction, check them out because they might be better than the PvP ones here. Okay, next we got the shoulders. The one that you want to get is the Lustrous Deft rune, and it adds 55 dex. And if you wonder why we're going dex, it's because it's the best one that we can get for this item, and we would want to go strength if there was a rune to put good strength on it, because if you don't know, on warriors, strength, 1 point of strength adds 3/4 of an attack point, so 0.75, and dex only adds 0.25, so only 1/4 of an attack power point for warriors. It's the opposite for rogues. Rogues get better benefit from dexterity, and the 0.25 is for strength on rogues. But we want to go with strength, but the dex is the best that we can do. So the cheaper version of the shoulders is called the Gleaming Vengeful rune, and it adds 27 dex and 17 physical crit. Allows you to crit more. Alright, on the chest, we got the more expensive rune is the Lustrous Wrathful rune. It adds 45 dex and 22 attack power. As you can see, we're aiming for that attack power. So for the chest, the cheaper version is the Auroral Wrathful rune, and it adds 35 dex and 15 attack power. Not too much less, and that's actually a really good cheap rune too. For gloves, we will go with the Lustrous Steadfast rune, and that adds 96 physical crit. And the cheaper version of that is the Auroral Steadfast rune, which adds 38 physical crit. So about, 1/3 or so of the more expensive one, but probably 30 times cheaper. So on the belt, we got the Battleforged Vengeance rune. It adds 12 strength and 15 vengeance. Now this is bought with favor, and it's bought in a lot of times the starter towns like Meridian is for Defiant. So if you go in the PvP area there will be a vendor that sells some of these runes and stuff to put on your items. And this is, I think this is the only one that we want on our gear from that area. So Battleforged Vengeance rune on our belt. No cheaper one, no more expensive one, bought with favor. Okay, on the legs, the one that we want to put on it is the Lustrous Stalwart rune, and it adds 45 strength and 22 attack power. Man, that's an awesome rune right there. The cheaper version of it is the Auroral Potent rune, and it adds 32 strength. Quite a bit less, but it's cheaper. If you can't afford the 300 platinum per pop on these runes, gotta go with the cheaper ones. They're usually about 15 platinum. So, alright, for feet, we got the Lustrous Intrepid rune, and it adds 71 crit power. And like I said, we're not really shooting to do crit and crit power, but it's the best runes for these spots. Until they add more runes, that's what we got to go with. So the cheaper version of it is the Gleaming Intrepid rune, which is, it adds 42 crit power. Not too much more or less, but still. On our weapons, the rune that you want to go with is the Lustrous Rage Runeshard, and it adds 43 attack power. That is awesome right there. And of course you'll be wanting to put the enchant on it, which is the Honed Edge that you get with Planar Attunement. The cheaper version of the weapon enchants is the Empyrean Rage Runeshard, and it adds 32 attack power. Not too much less, heck, a lot of people might want to stay with the cheaper version because it's not much less of a benefit. And you put the same rune on your ranged weapon, so both your one-handers and your ranged one. Okay, on the necklace, The only way that you can enchant your necklace is if you do PvE faction grinding. Of course I don't do that, so I don't have an enchant for my neck. Sucks, but that's the way it goes. Trinket, same deal. Only PvE enchants. You can't get it any other way. Alright, on the rings, what you use on this is brass knuckles. And you can buy them with the favor in the PvP area of Tempest Bay. So just enchant both your rings with the Vengeance plus 20 there. On Trinket, or Seal, I mean. On your seal, you want to use the Lustrous Rage Runeshard, which adds 43 attack power. Now, the alternative to this is the Leafy's enchant that you can buy with favor in the PvP area, and that adds 40 Vengeance, which is almost the same, right? No. Like I said, we get almost a 50% bonus to attack power. So this attack power here is, 60 or more, 61 or whatever it is. So it's a good deal better than the Leafy's one, but the Leafy's one is pretty good too. Like I said, stack as much attack power as you can, because warriors really buff that up and benefit from it. So hope you guys enjoyed the guide. I forgot. Now that they put in dream orbs, you want to buy those, and they can go into multiple items on your character. I think it's like 4 things you can enchant with the dream orbs, and they add attack power, strength, all kinds of stuff. So you want to get those when you can. Of course, I can't afford it. If anybody wants to donate some greater dream orbs to me, please do, because I need them. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure to rune your guys out right and get those dream orbs. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow.